Finding the right coach is key to the success of any voice actor. The right coach is going to guide you on your journey and find ways to bring out the best in your performance. And one coach who is more than capable of doing that is a 25-year veteran of the industry with credits including The Simpsons, King of the Hill, and X-Men Evolution, just to name a few. Welcome to the show, the one and only Everett Oliver.
Yeah, I can hear the crowd. Yeah.
That's right. I'll mix some crowd noise into this.
Thank you so much for having me. And I'm going to change something really quick, to be honest. 29 years. I've crossed 29.
29 years. Oh, Everett, you got to update your website.
You know what? I'm busy.
Well, that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. So look, before we get into this, there is one very important pressing question that is on my mind. I'm just wondering if your opinion of seafood, and particularly head-on shrimp, has changed at all, or are you still afraid of it?
I'm not afraid of seafood. I'm just thinking that the type of seafood that you eat is probably not acquired to my taste buds. But yes, we love a good lobster. We love a good shrimp. We love a good piece of salmon. So yes.
Just don't bring head-on shrimp to the table in the bag.
Right. Yeah. That's a new way of eating. What kind of fish was it again? I don't remember.
Well, we had crawfish. That was
crawfish.
The other one. Crawfish, yes.
I remember crawfish, but yeah, we're not a crawfish eater, but we do eat a piece of salmon that cleans the body, makes it healthy, keeps us center and focused.
Okay. And these are all important things that we've got to keep in mind as we're trying to succeed in our careers. So
we want to live a long time. So
that's right.
Yes.
So let's just dive right into this. I'm very curious to know Everett Oliver's take on the state of voiceover as we head towards the end of 2023 and as we start looking forward to 2024. Are there trends that you are following? Are there trends that you see changing? Where are we right now? Where does Everett see us?
Right now, we're in if you want to call it a crisis. There's opportunity. I'll start there. There is opportunity.
Okay, good.
There are people who are moving here to Los Angeles.
Okay.
You have to find, the trends, dubbing. I just had a class on it, which is so funny, and I always say it. There's so much other mediums that's out there that people need to explore that they're not exploring.
Let's talk about dubbing for a minute, though, because it's interesting that you bring that up, because I was just thinking the other night, I had canceled my Netflix for quite a while, and I signed up for it about a month ago again, just because there was a couple shows that had come out that my wife wanted to watch. Mm-hmm. And as I'm sitting on the couch in the evening and I'm looking for something on Netflix, I'm noticing more and more and more that Netflix is offering a lot of international shows that have all been dubbed. And so that does create an opportunity. So you mentioned dubbing. Expand on that a little bit more. What do we got to do? What do we got to be looking for? How does one get into dubbing?
It's opportunity. The opportunity is I know casting people who are hiring for dubbing or looking for people for dubbing. It doesn't pay a lot, but that's okay. It's some form of voice work. You want to do voiceover, you have to create and you have to find these opportunities. So there are people that's looking out there from all different backgrounds, all different nationalities, whether or not you speak, French, Spanish, so yes, there's tons of dubbing. I'm sure that, your agents are getting copy for dubbing. What I would personally do is I would look on LinkedIn, looked on Twitter. I think it's called X, whatever. And
formerly known as
whatever. I can't keep up.
Yeah.
And look for, the instructors, or look for the people who are actually, teaching dubbing, who are actually casting for dubbing. I mean, it's all at your fingertips.
You said you recently did a workshop on dubbing. So talk to us a little bit about, is it something, what is the specialized, or is there a specialized skill set? that goes along with
Acting.
that if somebody
And
wants to
just
do it?
acting,
It's just
acting,
acting.
acting. You just need to know how to act. You need to be able to listen to the beeps. You need to be able to look at the mouth flaps,
Yep.
sometimes, but it's all about you just acting and bringing your uniqueness to that specific role that you see. So, I'm not a dubbing expert, but I know that it's out there.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, people, I hear some people are like, oh, they shy away from it, and I'm like, listen, this is a great start for you to get into something else.
Yep.
And it could form a lifelong career if you find the right I keep saying instructor, find the right person who actually is hiring for dubbing. You can make a full-time career out of it. I know some people who do that.
I suspect it's one of those industries where I'm guessing it's not the easiest thing to do, right? It's not like walking in and reading a commercial, particularly if you're trying to time to lips and all of that sort of stuff. So I'm guessing just because of that, there's probably a smaller number of voice actors who are even willing to give it a shot, which means that for those that are, if you can do it well, there's probably even greater opportunity for you. Would that be fair?
It is fair. It's great opportunity. I know a casting director who's out here that she basically you have to work exclusively for her. But
Okay.
once you get under her circle, she dubs for features.
Once
You
you're in, you're
work
in.
all the time.
Right.
All the time. And
Yep.
that's what you're looking for. And you might not have the opportunity to work in other different fields, but you're still doing voice work.
Right.
So, you got to pick and choose what you want. Here's an opportunity for you. It's going to be, once you get in, it's going to be very easier. But if you're trying to go ahead and you want to do animation, you want to do video games, then I wouldn't try to get myself into dubbing, because it's going to be hard for you to make that transition. And I've had a client who did that, and I haven't seen them in a while. I won't even mention their name.
You got me thinking now. I'm going to have to find a dubbing expert and get somebody on the show to explore that particular genre a little bit more, because it does sound like there may be something there. So, we're talking 2023, trends shifting. I got to ask you, although I'm afraid to ask you, what is Everett's take on AI? Are you thinking about it at all? Are you worried about it at all? Are you paying attention to it at all? Or are you just like, AI?
I'm personally, I'm somewhat kind of fascinated by it. It's me in my creative field. It doesn't affect me at all. I'm fascinated a little bit about it. I did get myself involved in GPT-A or something, I think it's called GPT. I don't even know the lingo. This is how bad I am with this, right? I'm fascinated by it only because I'm hanging out with a bunch of young people, but it's not affecting me. I'm not really thinking about it. It's going to affect the world. I totally am up on the news feeds and listening to it. It's going to do some sort of effect. How it's going to affect you personally, you have to decide if it's going to work for you or work against you, and figure that system out. So as far as me personally and what I do for a living, it's not really going to affect me. I work a lot in animation, and I work a lot in commercials, and I do other sorts of different things. But personally, it's not really.
So you're not seeing anybody talking about it yet in animation, commercial, dubbing even? Like it seems like it's more lower end corporates, e-learnings, maybe some audiobooks and stuff like that at this point. But so I guess the differentiator then, commercial animation, talking about those in particular, you mentioned it with dubbing as well. The differentiator is acting, right? If you're a good actor, that's how you AI proof your business. So give us some acting tips. What do we need to be working on to help improve our acting chops so that we can AI proof ourselves?
Getting out of your head, letting that
easier said than done.
It's just so easy. Stop thinking. Attending acting classes, taking improv classes. The wall. My biggest thing that is drives me insane is people have been traumatized in their life. I get it. We've all had something in our life, but they have allowed that to affect them in a way that I hear, and I have to really figure out what that trauma is and like talk actors through it. And I say, listen, I'm not no psychologist.
Are you sure?
I can advise you to the best of my ability and guide you, but you have to be able to play. You have to be able to be vulnerable. This is not that serious. We're not brain surgeons. We're not, pulling teeth at the dentist or giving, doing other stuff. This is supposed to be a profession that you love. This is supposed to be a profession that be as creative as you can and not let any barriers, not let people tell you that you can't do it. There's just so much. And that's what I say as far as acting is concerned. That's what I listen for. I want to know who's going to come and have fun and be true to who they are and themselves.
I'm trying to think. I was thinking about how long I've known you. I'm guessing it's probably been pretty close to a decade. And so that means that pretty close to a decade, you've been telling me and everybody I know who I send to you to get out of our heads. It really is a big problem, isn't it? Like, that psychological barrier doesn't just impact the acting side and the in the booth side either. I mean, I see it every day with voice actors. So I'm coaching for marketing. More often than not, they know exactly what to do as far as what steps to take, but it's this mind game that's going on that keeps them from doing that marketing. And it's that same mental game that keeps them from really letting go or setting themselves free in the booth. So what do we do? Do we just need to call you and you just be like, get out of your head, Mark, get out of your head before every audition?
We have to do things to occupy ourselves. Like we go running, we go bowling, we go miniature golf, we go play with our kids.
Yep.
We watch them play, video games. We have to do stuff to really, really regain that funness. You have to psych your mind out. You've gotten much better. I will say that in the last 10 years.
I know I'm completely self-conscious in the booth. I don't deny that.
Your mind never shuts off. That's an issue.
No, it doesn't. It's true.
Yes. Yes. And see, I know you well enough to say it's like, Mark, now
I don't deny it.
You have child, go play with your child, shut that part of the brain off. And then once you go ahead and you play with your child a little bit, then step into the booth and do your auditions. It's all of that. Go watch your favorite TV show, to make you laugh. You've got to play mind tricks, to do that. You got to exercise, go do yoga, go do meditation. There's so much you can do. Go call a friend, go watch your favorite video, to help you, connect.
I don't know. It's true. There is so much of a mental component to this and it is universal. Like every voice actor that I talk to struggles with it in some capacity. Some it is in the booth, some it's in the office side of things, doing the business side of things. But it's so valid that there's that mental component and getting out of your head and getting out of your way. It really does feel like the vast majority of us in this industry just need some form of therapy, figure out some of this stuff. We could do better in the booth. You didn't say it, but I know you're thinking it, Everett. Tell the truth now. Come on. I mean, this episode's titled Everett Speaks His Truth.
As I'm sweating right out, I'm like, I didn't say that. And it is true. It's true. It's not like, it's therapy, but I mean, you have to talk it out. You have to talk your issues out with someone just to really, really, it's that core. And once you've gotten all of that stuff off your chest, all of that, relationships, family stuff, then you'll be able to find that true core of who you are. And that truth tell is, as Dave Walsh would say, that truth tell is going to come out. It's totally going to come out and you're going to hear it. Yeah. They're going to say, that's who you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's expand on this a little bit further then. I know there's a few different things that you do from a coaching and directing and casting standpoint. So let's start with commercial. What is going on in commercial right now? What is the hot trend in commercial? Is it still just that conversational non-announcer thing, or
everything? Everything's
Everything,
natural,
every genre, it doesn't
grounded.
matter. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's all natural. It's all grounded. It's very conversational. Us on our West Coast, it's improv. They want you to be funny. If you're a comedian, that'd be great. They're looking for people who are comedians, who are funny. It's all about your comedic timing, and connecting to the copy, connecting to the words.
So let's talk about that then. If the comedy side and the improv side of things, is this a situation where if you're recording an audition, you're giving them one take according to specs, and then you're giving a second take, and maybe you're ad-libbing a little bit or adding a little bit of that improv or personality into it? Would you do that?
I would totally ad lib even in your first take. Go ahead and give them, switch it up. If they're going to be listening to stuff over and over and over again. I mean, we're going to be listening to about 500 auditions. So give them that first take that's going to have that improv, that's going to have that comedy, and put that in there. I know that some of the agents on the East Coast or in the Midwest will say, don't ad lib because they don't like ad lib. But here's the factor. Let's get to the nitty gritty now that I've
all right. Let's get here. We go.
Here's
Getting
the
real
thing.
now.
The thing is that casting directors, find out what the casting directors want. Look the casting directors up on LinkedIn or on Instagram or Google them. The casting directors are listed somewhere online. There's going to be some sort of interview, whether it's on camera or whether it's written down. You will know what the casting directors are looking for.
Sure.
So it's best to, even if your agent is against it, you could go ahead and put a little note and say, this is what the casting director is looking for. And I'm going to, according to the casting director, if I'm trying to book it.
So you mentioned East Coast and West Coast, which is something I know you've talked about in the past, and that there are sometimes differences in the East Coast read versus the West Coast read. So you mentioned West Coast tends to be a little bit more of the improv.
Freer.
So is this something where if you could determine that casting that you're getting from your agent, if you're on the East Coast, say, but you can determine that casting that's coming from your agent is being cast in LA, then maybe give it some of that?
You should read according to the region. Read according to the region where you're sending the audition to.
All right.
Everyone don't honor those commas. If you're reading for the West, go right through those commas.
Yep.
Bring you to it. Everyone tends to, and I had a casting director on for one of my online programs, and I was not trying to be right, but you can hear the difference in the reads, the over articulation that everybody does on the East Coast. You can totally hear it. Stick to that if you're reading for an East Coast casting director. But like I said, my advice is to find out who this casting director is, find out who the company is if you can.
Yep.
Ask questions, contact your agent. There's nothing wrong with asking your agent one small, quick question. I didn't say call the agent. Now let's be clear about that. They don't have time to talk to you.
Can you tell me about? I got a question about this. Yeah,
I got a question. But what I'm saying is drop a small email. Right, a small email as my facial expression. Drop a small, question as to whatever you're interested in. Don't make it 5 questions.
Right.
One question. So that way the agent should be able to spit the answer back, and they're only going to give you a few, like a sentence or two. That's what you're looking for. Do your research, people. It's so important to do your research, which actors are not doing. I know they're not doing any research.
It's true. Comes into the booth, we grab it, we rip it, and reread it. I mean, there's
over
still
and over again, and it's like I can tell because when you're reading copy, you're not connecting to it. You're fumbling words. You're trying to, figure stuff out. And I'm like, listen, when we worked at the agency many moons ago, the agents would tell us that they have literally 15 minutes. They're not done in 15 minutes. Now, mind you, they would have probably 5 or 6 pieces of copy.
Right.
So if you had 15 minutes to get 5 pieces of copy out, you had to be out in 15 minutes. So that's how I treat everyone. I'm like, listen, there should be, if you got 3 lines, there should be no reason why it's taking you 45 minutes to do 3 lines.
That's
or
valid.
3 paragraphs.
Yep.
Short paragraphs, especially if you're doing commercial copy.
Yeah.
No, part of it is that they're not doing their research, and part of it is they're not prepping
Yeah.
before they get the copy. That's another issue that actors are not doing.
Right.
So it's like there's no more just go ahead, cold reading it, boom. Really, for me, in my opinion, if people are doing cold reads, I mean, it's good too, just in case, to be on top of that and not just requires you coaching. But in today's society, you should be able to get the copy, really prepare for it, and boom, go right in and knock it out the box.
So many of the auditions that I'm seeing from my agents now are coming with briefs that are 3 pages long. And it's really easy to get this document, and you've got a 15-second commercial read, or maybe a 30-second commercial read, and you just want to get in the booth and get it done and move on to the next audition. And so you're not actually taking the time to read that 3-page brief. But more often than not, I think it's probably fair to say that everything that you need to know in order to deliver that great read would come if you would just take a couple of minutes
to go through the whole thing,
read that brief, understand the story they're trying to tell, who they're trying to tell the story to.
What do they want?
Yeah.
What do they want? How do you bring your point of view to it? Stop getting caught up on the time. I know some coaches are going to go ahead and fight me on it about the time. It's about really being natural and grounded. The casting person is rooting for you.
Yeah.
They're not so much caught up on the time that you have to come in. That's an old school way of thinking.
Yep.
My suggestion is get as close as possible, but even if you go slightly a little over, it's not going to kill you.
Yeah. If you give them the right read.
It's all about the right read. It's all about you connecting to it. It's all about becoming whatever you're absolutely saying and telling your true self and creating that story and giving them levels and giving options. That's what it's about. It's not about how fast we can get it done, because you'll never go ahead and you'll book that way. It's not about that.
I think probably part of this stems from the online casting world, where it's literally, if you don't submit your audition in the first 5 minutes, 100 other voice actors have already submitted. And so we're in this, factory assembly line mode of just get in, crank it out, move on to the next, get in, crank it out, move on to the next. But the reality is, if we would just slow down a little bit,
progress,
give each one of those auditions their due time and respect, read through those briefs, we'd probably be, maybe you don't get as many auditions submitted, but if you're submitting higher quality auditions, you probably are increasing your conversion rate as well.
And you'll get closer to your goal.
Yep.
Of,
let's talk about it. You said, authentic, real, genuine, conversational is the word that everybody's using. If I were to ask,
there's one thing too that I should add to that: point of view. People miss their point of view. I bring it all the time. Where's your point of view?
Right. Besides
that conversational, blah, blah, blah. And everyone misses that point of view.
Yeah.
Everybody across the board. And that's the first thing that I listen to, is that I'm like, what's your point of view? As you ask those questions to yourself. That's just my goal. But go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, that's okay. I'm just curious. If I were to survey 100 coaches and casting directors and ask 100 coaches and casting directors, what is your definition of the conversational read? I'm sure that I would get 100 unique takes on that, which is one of the reasons why it can be very frustrating for voice actors trying to discern what does conversational actually mean. What is Everett's definition of conversational? What are you looking for if you're doing the casting or if you're doing the directing? What are you looking for that represents conversational to you?
Let's start off with conversational. Conversational to me is having a conversation like you do, sitting with a friend,
right,
at a bar, talking to your family on the phone,
right.
I mean, it's just as basic as sitting at Thanksgiving and talking about whatever you talk about. And then what I specifically look for is the realism, how real and authentic you are. And when I'm sitting up there and I'm even pulling characters, working with actors on characters, and I work with them on commercials, there's a truth to it. I want to hear also, thank you, I just heard, a real life experiences.
Right.
Everybody has an experience, and I want to hear that story. And so in my insane loving way, which I'm tapping and I'm getting messages as we speak, It's I can tap into a real life experience that this person has had, and
Right.
I give it to them, and I
Yep.
say, give me a conversation with you and your best friend, or you and your neighbor have had maybe a day or two ago, and tell me what that experience is. So that's what to me, as far as what a conversational is, experience and realism,
And that's something that
and making me laugh.
and that's something
Add,
you can't
to
get
it.
to if you're just grabbing the script, running in the booth,
Right.
knocking out a read. You've got to take a minute and
and you've got to bring that. Like I said, it's interesting because it just hit me. You've got to bring those real life experiences into it, because only you have experienced it. Everybody experienced stuff totally different. Everybody, like, we're all come from different races, backgrounds, whatever. It's our journey is different. So if you bring that realism to it, a casting person is going to hear that. And they're going to go, or they could relate. I did hear a casting person once say too, sometimes it's the tone. It's their voice. It might trigger a first love. It might trigger losing a grandparent. It just does different moments and different things. So you have to also bring that element, and that's where your truth telling to me comes from, bringing those different experiences and moments. So keep that in mind as well.
So let's shift gears then and apply some of this into animation, because I know this is another area where you work a lot. What's trending in animation right now, and what do we need to know? Because I know it's one of those genres that so many voice actors want to be a part of. What are we doing in our animation auditions to make them better and to stand out a little more?
As we said earlier, just the realism. Bringing,
it's all the same
some
stuff.
People, it's cartoony. There's a few. Everyone is saying be real and conversational in your cartoon characters. I listen for the acting. I listen for the different levels. I listen for your comedy if you're funny. That's what the animation world is. I'm listening for whether you are a person who does preschool, because that's what they do on the East Coast. So there's a different kind of sort of language that I listen to, the way they're speaking, if they're like a teacher teaching preschool, or if they're little kids. There's a certain articulation that I'm listening for, and I'm going, oh, this is what we do on the East Coast. So this is where your market is here. We're much more freer here. The animation is much more, you could be over the top. We want to hear whether or not the rapping and singing, all of this new stuff that you do for the on-common world should be also bringing it into your voiceover. So that's what's trending, and that's what I'm hearing. They want to know about, non-binary, all of this stuff is coming through, whether in your characters or, in commercials. So that's what's trending.
Talk about if you watch Disney movies right now, just that's the easiest one to think of. So many of the Disney movies, it's not really character voices anymore. It's natural voices. It's actors who are playing a character. How does that factor in for somebody who's studying animation, maybe thinking about doing an animation demo? Is it two demos now? Is there like a character voices demo, but then you're just character acting demo? Or do you incorporate those two things together somehow? Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, I can do all kinds of voices. Well, it's great that you can do all kinds of voices, but that's not always what the story is in animation anymore. So talk a little bit about that.
So the demos, they're really listening for, as I said earlier, is you. They're listening for you. And this is how I do demos. I would do a variation or a combination. There's no more just character voices where separate demos here for characters and a separate voice for, other demos. What you're doing is, what I do is I'm bringing your personality for each specific character. And I'm allowing you to, I also bring characters to see how well you can step outside the box. So if you're doing feature animation, yes, you can. I would add a feature character to it. I mean, TV and obviously TV and film are totally different, two different mediums.
Sure.
But they want to hear whether or not you do preschool They want to hear whether or not you do teenagers, adults. I said it earlier, singing, creature sounds, even though that could be something that could be more in a video game demo and stuff like that. But I know people who are in the center part of the country who just want to do, characters. They want to be able to be stretched in range, and they want to have all of that. So yes, what I would specifically do is you can create samples if you're going to go ahead and put, an animation double. I would have, like, if you want to do creature stuff like that, just so that way you have a sample, so that way the agent or the casting broker can see how well your range expands. As far as, like I said, bring your characters real. Bring some characters that are over the top. That's what I'm hearing. Bring your singing to some of your characters. There's so much that you can incorporate.
I'm curious, we talked earlier about dubbing, and you mentioned that that's a genre that you're seeing it as a growing genre. And, we mentioned all these streaming platforms and so many international movies on them now that are getting dubbed. I'm curious about animation, because it seems to me like there are 100 different streaming services now. Every one of them is trying to create original and unique content, and animation is often a part of that original and unique content, because they're trying to get parents to, sign up for the service for their kids.
Subscribe.
Does that mean that there's more opportunity now in animation than there has been in the past? Like, it seems like before it was like Disney, Nickelodeon, like there were a few really large gatekeepers that kind of held the keys to the kingdom. Now with all these different platforms and so much more content being created, does that open the door for more voice actors, or are you seeing that?
It does open the door. I mean, there are a lot of other people that are doing independent animated features and stuff like that, even in schools. There's so much animation content. There might not be as many animation stuff on pay-to-plays. I would try to stay too much away from the pay-to-plays, or be very, very careful to do your research on the pay-to-plays stuff, what you sign up for, because you never know. But, animation is not going anywhere. Animation is across the whole, board. Yes, you have to dig for it. But I will say, if you want to play with the big leagues and the big people, you're going to have to be union.
That's another question.
Let me be clear about that. Yes, you have to be in the union. And 95, I will go on a limb and say about between 98 and 99% of the animation with the big stuff, on both coasts, on both coasts, is union.
So does that mean that you have to be in LA if you want to book this stuff? Do you have to be based in LA? Or with the rise of the home studio, Source Connect, all of these options for doing remote directed sessions and everything, does that open up the rest of the country and voice actors that are in the rest of the country? Or is it still an LA thing?
Most people are moving here. Things have not changed as much because we're still under this COVID and because with the strike that's happening. So as of now, you don't necessarily have to be. I mean, I believe that they're doing animation, I think, in Atlanta, or at least they're opening up some, animation studios there to do it. So no, listen, I don't want 15,000 of y'all moving here. Let's be clear about that.
The taxes are too expensive in California. No, who wants to live there? Come on.
But, yes, get your training first. Let me say this, get your training first.
But there is an opportunity for voice actors who are not based in LA. The opportunity is still there.
Come out here because, like I said, there is tons of work, but you're going to have to hunt for it. And you're going to have to find the right agent that's going to represent you, that give you and create that opportunity, for you.
You do casting and you do directing. What are your pet peeves? What are the things that you see voice actors doing, whether it's through a casting process or while you're directing them, and you just want to, reach out and give them one of those smacks? You want to get all up in their, you know what I'm talking about, Everett.
You mean when they're not prepared?
When they're not prepared, when they're not doing
come in prepared.
What you're telling them to is, what are the pet peeves? What are the pet peeves? Because I'm sure if they're your pet peeves, other casting directors are probably feeling some of the same things. So what are we doing wrong, and what do we got to fix? Is it just preparation?
Rushing, which is part of preparation. Not doing their research. Late, coming in late, annoys me. What else annoys me? Oh, Thank you.
Here we go. Here, I saw it on your face.
Reading a script off your computer annoys, it drives me crazy. So if I'm giving you notes, you're not even taking notes.
We're not writing them down.
You're just sitting there trying to retain it in your head.
Trying to remember it.
And I'm like, did I not just tell you?
All of a sudden, I hear Uncle Roy in my head screaming, "Mark your script, damn it!" And I'm picturing you looking to see whether or not they're actually marking their script.
I'm not even going there. It just flashed because I was just thinking of somebody. That's why. It's still part of preparation. It'll hit me. It's just not hitting me right now.
But a lot of it really does have to do with just doing a little bit of homework up front, right? Understanding the script,
basic stuff,
knowing your perspective, who's the audience.
Yeah, they're not even having those questions. And another pet peeve is them acting. So you think that you're going to put on another, I'm going to say voice, which drives me crazy, put on another voice and do the same acting as you done for the other character. I'm like, so just because you changed the character and you're giving me the exact same acting notes and beats and tone, that drives me crazy. So it's just like they don't have, like I said, we go back to preparation. They don't have a toolbox of characters that they can use because I bring real life experiences to any actor I work with.
Yep.
My experiences working at an agency and being at the sessions and working with the casting people and the producers, I'm giving you hardcore real life experiences. So that way, when you have that real life experience, you're not flustered, you're not sweating, you are calm, cool, and collective, and you will hear my voice say, take a minute, take a breath.
Right.
They are humans just like you.
Yep.
They understand. Time is money. I will say that.
Yeah.
But the simple fact of the matter is that I just need a minute to find what I'm looking for, because it's going to come to you just as clearly as day. I just need a minute. Like, who is this character? This is how I was taught and raised, because that's what it is. I've worked with professional actors who can think quickly, timely, off their feet. And the voice director would grab them a piece of copy and say, hey, Pat, we need you to do this, 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 and this. Can you make it blah, blah, blah? And the actor will go, sure, I can go ahead. And then all of a sudden, they just change stuff in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Boom. It just comes to them that quickly. And that's what I do as a coach, mentor, prepare you for that. Because other than that, once you are not prepared and ready, that's it. You only got one shot.
Right.
And that's for real.
I'm noticing a theme as we carry on throughout the interview, and it seems that a lot of it does just come back to preparation and doing that, couple of minutes of homework just to make sure that you're ready, rather than just walking into the booth with the script and standing in front of the microphone and just knocking out a read. I suspect, I almost wonder if this is going to be the answer to the next question then as well. Now I got you all worked up because I, figured out what it is that annoys you. Let's bring you back down again. You offer career consultation. You're literally like a voiceover renaissance man. You do casting, you do directing, you do animation, commercial, everything, but you do career consultation as well. What are a couple of things that you wish that new voice actors understood coming in, other than preparation? Because I feel like that's probably going to be part of the answer to the question.
Acting. It's just general acting. Just have a background in acting. But my thing is that because they've taken theater classes, that's their acting. And I'm like, well, no. Or if they've taken, on-camera acting, I'm like, well, that's great. That's helpful. But I tell people, you want to find a class that you're going to understand who the hell you are.
Right.
And you're going to be vulnerable to play. Go do an improv class for fun. Get that fear out of you.
Right.
That's what it is. It's holding everybody back. It's fear.
Yep.
It's the fear of what happens if I'm not good enough, or what happens, someone told them, why are you wasting your time doing that?
Yeah.
And that's all this is just fear.
Yep.
And so once
100%.
you can get over that, and Yeah, I want to hear you. I want to know what you were like when you was a child. That's what they're looking for. I mean, um, oh God, I was fun. I was mature, believe it or not, as a child. My friends would, but I was hyper.
I can't imagine.
And I was very hyper. You say I'm drinking a sip of water, right? But as my cousin would say, I was over the top, but my personality as I'm now has stayed the same. I've just calmed down a little bit more, But that's what I tell actors, especially when they come into career consultation. It's okay if you've been in this business for a short period of time and you're confused. Yep. And then I've people who come to me and I unconfuse you and I steer them and guide them into the right direction. But it's like some people have lost their way because tragic health issues or whatever. And that's okay. Sometimes you need to, the body. You have to understand the process of the body. When you're tired, go take a minute and take a break. I happen to be a workaholic, which I've been told. So now I have to learn to find my, plainness, or something that I love to do. So that's what I did when people come to me for career consultations. That's what I'm listening for. I'm like, okay, there was something about them that I'll say, this is what's missing. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and I just want to get to know you. Once I get to know you, then I go, I give them looks.
You do give a lot of looks.
Mm-hmm. It's not even good or bad. It's just like, I'm studying.
You're trying to figure it out. Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure you out and go, and I'll know what's missing because they'll say something. I'm paying attention, but I'm also trying to, how can I guide them? How can I, as long as they ain't stressing me out, don't come stress me out.
You've brought up improv a couple of times, so obviously you are a fan of improv. That's something that you've mentioned, and people. I will admit that even when you say the word improv, I think my heart rate goes up a little bit, and I start to break out in hives a little bit.
Because it's fear.
Oh, 100%. I do not deny that.
And I don't understand it. You have a great personality. You do well in front of. You do it. You do improv in front of when you at a conference.
Yeah.
And you need to treat it. You have to sometimes trick yourself and go, it's just me having fun.
Yep.
In front of a bunch of people who I don't know.
Yep.
Who you'll never see probably again.
Yep.
Unless you just have a connection with them. And that's how you have to look at it.
Yeah.
I let yourself go.
I literally, as you're talking, I'm like, I used to run into burning buildings when I was on the fire department, and I loved it. Like, I would do it again tomorrow if I had the opportunity. Did not faze me whatsoever walking into those situations. But the idea of walking into an improv class, I'm like, I would have to turn around and run and look for a burning building just to feel comfortable. I know
you have to suck your mind out.
Yeah.
You suck yourself out. Put yourself in that position. That'll help you get rid of that fear.
So other than improv, though, we talk about acting, and acting is such a broad-based term. Is there any particular methods? Because I know there's different types of acting, different methods that, different teachers that teach different techniques. Is there any particular one that you have found is better than another, or is it just learn how to act, get comfortable, get over your fear, improv, like really?
Everybody's going to say about the Meisner technique. I'm just I'm like, okay, that works.
Right.
I just listen for realism.
Yep.
I really listening. I mean, that's really become a stickler of me and a point of view.
Yep.
That's what I'm looking for. Once I kind of home in and kind of figure out who you are, then I can go ahead and really sink my teeth into you and claws and pull out performances that you couldn't, even thought of or do or thought you couldn't do, know. So that's what, because it's just natural.
Right.
It's just you being natural.
Yep.
But I think the thing is, I feel like in our world, and I feel like that people are not allowing them to be particularly who they are.
Do you think social media is a factor in that? Because we're all trying to present a particular image on social media, right? We present our best life on social media. We We only talk about the good things that happen. We only talk about the good jobs that we book. We only talk about the good agent that we signed with or whatever. And so we're creating this almost like an alternate reality because it's only based on part of the reality. But do you think that is part of what's impacting our ability to tap into our vulnerabilities? Because generally speaking,
well, because you don't know anybody. I think so, because you don't know anybody. So I mean, I look at social media. It's weird for me because I'm looking as an outlet of its messages for me.
Yep.
Social media, it's a way I find things on social media to me that's funny.
Yep.
Which I can, relate to. But I do see people on there, and it just like it allows them to probably not think as much, and they're just doing it because everybody else is doing it.
Yep.
I'm still, because I'm of a certain age, trying to figure out the influencer kind of thing. Not quite sure what that is.
Famous for the sake of being famous.
Yeah, and listen, whatever that is, be careful what you ask for is what I'm saying, because you never know.
Are you not trying to be a Kardashian, Everett? That's not your jam on social media.
Everybody, let's be clear about this. I will say, I've got a big bubbly personality. Everybody thought I was going to go ahead and be an actor. I can't remember lines. Okay, let's be clear. I cannot remember lines. Okay, and now I'm forgetting people's names. Okay, but I can tell you when your birth date is. I can tell you what your first, when you had your first child. Okay?
Right.
So I can tell you that. But other than that, I don't remember. But no, I think social media does plays
a role,
a role in that. It's a way of covering up, and hiding, because it's just like, well, nobody's going to watch this. And then they're surprised at what they do when they get all these followers and go, whoa.
Yep.
They do. People pay attention.
It's true.
I look at this guy named Calvin. Calvin is this guy who's in this grocery store on Instagram or TikTok. And he just makes, fun of people and, puts wigs on people. And he has a good time. And I look at it as he's just a way of making people feel comfortable and having a good time and being vulnerable and playing.
Sure.
Yep. So it's that, aspect of it.
So we've talked a little bit about it. We've touched on some of the different things that you do, but let's kind of summarize. If somebody is looking for help from Everett, because we all should probably spend a little bit of time with you, let's talk about some of the different things that you offer, some of the different services that you offer to voice actors, and how you're helping us to get out of our heads and deliver better reads and auditions. What are you doing?
I'm a behind the scenes kind of guy, whether people believe it or not. I have this workout program, an online program where I have people from all different backgrounds, casting directors, agents, coaches in specific fields come in. They teach for 2.5 hours on the various different genres from, yes, I've done looping. Yes, I've done corporate, e-learning, blah, 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 down the line.
Okay.
Then my classes go between 10 and 12 students, no more than 12. I do no audits at all because I do not believe that you can learn something from an audit.
Just sitting and watching.
Everybody needs to participate.
Yep.
Then what I do is I allow the instructor to do what they do. Mm-hmm. I am taking notes throughout the whole entire process. I am the only coach that I've been told, and I will brag about it, that will give individual feedback to every single student who's in that class.
Yep.
And I will reach out to them and tell them what they need to work on.
Right.
What needs to improve. So that's what I do for that. I do private coaching for commercials. I do private coaching for animation. Mm-hmm. I have been doing animation demos. I've been doing a little bit of animation demos for commercials.
And you've had some award nominations, is that not correct?
2 nominations for the One Voice. Thank you for the nomination. For 2 of my clients for producing and coaching for the animation. So thank you for reminding me, because I would have totally forgotten about that. That's how much.
I've done my homework, Everett. I know what's up.
Because I'm a behind the scenes person, believe it or not. I do, obviously, like you said, I have this career counseling person comes to me and they give me everything. They give me a foundation they lay out their whole life, and I formulate a plan for them.
Yep.
And send them to either I work with them or I do share and send them to coaches who I think it's a right fit for them.
Yep. Okay.
So this is no wasting, no time.
Yep.
Then I do, thank you. They said auditions. I have people that come to me for auditions who we work. I kick and scream. I like, you can't do that audition. Why are you even wasting your time doing this audition? Because that's not you. Or, yes, this is a great audition, boom. So I work with them just to get the right performances out. That's pretty much
That's just all the things. That's all. Just all the things.
I mentor, right? You see, I'm going down a list. I mentor.
Yes.
I mentor a lot of actors. Though people don't see me as much, I will say that. They reach out to me, and I mentor them from around the world. I have international clients, people who I have a connection with, and really give them a true, honest opinion of what I see in them, what is going on in their career, and how can I move them forward. I'm a person of networking.
Yep.
I'm a person of telling it, as I've been told, raw and real, which is hilarious.
I vouch for that.
And not going to blow smoke up your butt.
Yeah. Which we
think we need that.
We need more of that. Yeah.
You have to be open to the criticism.
Yep.
I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to be tough on you, because this is how I feel. I feel that you do not need to be in front of professional people and look sloppy because there's a reflection on us. Because I know how voice actors are. They talk.
Yep.
And they're going to go ahead and say, this person did this, and this.
Yep.
And I'm a type of person that's like, I don't want my name in it.
Yep.
I want my name to be golden.
Right.
Because you're a reflection of me.
Yep.
Going in front of a casting person, you going in front of a producer, or whoever you interact with. So that's why I come from a place. I'm a tough love kind of coach. You might see me laughing and joking, but that's just who I am. Go ahead.
But that's why, that's one of the things that I really respect and appreciate about you. And one of the reasons why I refer so many people to you, because what you said, you're invested because your reputation's on the line too, right?
Right.
You're not one of those coaches that's just like, give me your money, here's an hour, go do your thing. You actually are invested in seeing people succeed because your reputation is ultimately reflected in how they deliver. And so that's one of the things that I appreciate about you. So if somebody wants to work with you, find out about your career consultations, about upcoming classes that you're offering, where do we go to do that?
You can go to Voice Acting Director, all one word, or email me at eo@voiceactingdirector.com and put Marc Scott in the subject line so I know where you came from.
Came from the podcast.
Right.
Right on.
Because it becomes I kind of figure things out, as I have stuff all over.
Right.
I just kind of want to know who is speaking very highly of me.
I will always speak highly of you, Everett.
Not those. I just like, I know what's happening in our voiceover community. I just kind of want to know where you came from.
Right.
So that way I got to have a good sense of, okay, you've had training with this person, you have training with this person. Then I have to figure out what is it that I need to bring to the table to complete that.
Right.
So that's what I'm looking for. And that's what
All right. So voiceactingdirector.com. I'll include that in the show notes. We'll put the email address in the show notes, maybe some social media links as well. Everett, I always enjoy when you come on and speak your truth. I had you on Free Advice Friday a while back, and that was a really fun session. And as I was preparing for this interview, I actually said to my wife, I'm like, I have no idea how to prepare for this interview because Everett is such a wild card and I'm just not really sure where we're going to go or where he's going to take me. But I know no matter what, I'm always going to learn something and you're always going to add value. And so thank you for the value that you have added in this interview because I know you're helping a lot of voice actors.
Well, thank you for having me. Like that's just my mojo. I'm here to help and serve and get actors where they need to be. And so when they come to me, they have a pretty good understanding of, where they are, and they know that my, reaching out to me is always open, regardless of how busy I am. I do get back to them.
Right on. Well, thank you for that, Everett. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much.